everyone. My name is Issa, and I'm
My
joined.
name's Oliver.
Yep. So we're just gonna chat. So, anyways, you have an iPhone, right? So just for
I
everyone,
do.
you do. I have Android, Samsung, but the new iPhone 14 came out recently,
hmm
and do you want to read through the little talking points?
Yeah, so I think most people are aware of it, but if anyone is not, there's four new phones. There's the iPhone 14, 14 Plus, 14 Pro, and 14 Pro Max. Or I think it's 14 Max. But I think I've seen a lot of people saying that the regular 14 and 14 Maxes are such like a really bad deal compared to the previous generation
Yeah, they don't have. Yeah,
because
they just have the same chip. The chip, it's the exact same.
yeah, they have the same chip, they have the same design, I think they have the same everything except I think there's a crash detection and then
Yeah.
um maybe a little bit better cameras, but it's not that worth.
Yeah. What is the crash detection? It's just like if you're in the car crash, it just notifies people. Is that what it
Yeah.
is?
So I think the whole gist of it is if you're in a car crash, there's gonna be a notification that pops up and you have to dismiss the notification to not call emergency services, but if you don't, it'll just automatically call them and send the location, which is useful for, you know, the
Yeah.
unlucky situation.
Yeah. Yeah. That is actually kind of cool. So you kind of say, "No, I'm okay. I'm good." Oh.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'm interested how Apple actually can tell which or what even is a car crash or like comparing it to like just dropping a phone, because I know they probably have to use a bunch of sensors to actually determine it compared to just dropping your phone or throwing it across the room, obviously, but
Yeah. How? Yeah. Like, would it? Yeah. That's a really good question because the only thing I
I
can
would
think.
think
Mm-hmm, go ahead.
I would think that they would probably just, like use the microphone obviously to like see if there's a like a really loud sound and
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
I would
Yeah. Sorry. Go
I
ahead.
would I don't know I'm just get I think I've read this somewhere where it has some kind of barometric sensor in there that can tell air pressure or something or it can somehow tell if an airbag is went off because of the pressure around um
Like it punching
so maybe
out.
that's
Like it punching out. Like
yeah
changing. Uh huh.
yeah
Okay.
exactly so maybe that's another indicator but I think it's a cool feature and a useful one.
Yeah. I mean, it's really interesting. Like, obviously, it has to do with the what is it called? The gyros, not the gyroscope, the accelerometer in the phone.
hmm
Like,
hmm
obviously,
Yeah.
like if it just goes like, then it's probably something probably happened to it. If it just
hmm
like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
the biggest thing is the notch changed.
Yeah,
Like,
no more notch.
yeah, it became like a little pill. It's kind of weird. Like, I'm a hater.
Dynamic island
Yeah,
hater.
I'm a hater of not the pill, not yet. The notch, big hater. I have not
Yeah.
liked it since it came out.
Yeah.
So that's the thing though, because like I feel like they just like went harder on the notch, the cutout in the screen this way.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that, but but it's also they're like honestly don't know what Androids are using for the whole punch camera, but I don't know if other phones are actually implementing it with software as much as the iPhone is, which is pretty it's pretty neat.
Yeah, this is like so. Basically, what they did is they took the little cutout that they have. It's like little like pill and then a little dot for the camera and all the sensors like Face ID and all that kind of stuff. And they kind of made it have software gimmicky around it. So like if you tap
Mhm.
it, it expands. If you're playing music, if you're doing navigation, it's like a quick toggle between apps, right? Is that correct? Kinda.
I think it serves a bunch of features. Face ID will just pop up from the actual top, and it'll just look like it's just part of the screen. And then there's also like timer map that just expands. The pill expands or contracts like how whatever app you're actually using.
Yeah, yeah. It do you, how like do these features like get adopted by like I don't know. I don't use an iPhone very much, so how how many apps would you say like that you use on a daily basis would like adopt these like new ways of interfacing with the phone.
I'd say probably the most common app is probably just music or something,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know how like helpful that would be. Like I know if the music is playing, it'll just act as like a the control center where you can just tap on it and it'll just go to music, or you can long press on it and it'll
Mm-hmm.
just turn into a widget, which already is in the control center. And there's also I think a useful one is the timer, because whenever you start a timer, it's kind of hard to tell like how long the timer has left unless you're like on the actual lock screen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this actually has like a little indicator at the top that tells you like what time is, or like what how much longer you have in the timer, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. On Android, if I start a timer, it'll like be a pop up. It'll like hover over. Let me see
Mm.
if I can like pull that up on my phone. So if I start a timer, so for 10 minutes, let me so you can see it's 9:57. It's kind of backwards, I know. But you'll
Mhm.
see in the bottom if it'll adjust.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yes,
can
because
kind of see
iPhone
it.
doesn't have that right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So like this is kind of cool. Like it's kind of okay if I can get it to
Mm-hmm.
show. Not very well, apparently. Whatever. Lighting. It's kind of cool, but I don't really like it. It's just kind of like, especially on a smaller phone. Like my phone's a little bit smaller. I used to have the Note 9, which is like huge, and it wasn't that big of a deal,
Yeah.
but now it's kind of a pain in the butt. I don't know.
Yeah. I also noticed there was an interesting point on the dynamic notch, or dynamic island, not notch.
Dynamic notch.
But because you're pressing or just like clicking the top of your phone so often, you're bound to get fingerprints on the actual camera.
Oh yeah,
So every time you actually want to use the camera, you have to wipe it off, because usually I never actually touch the notch, but you're going to be touching it all the time now.
yeah. That's kind of weird.
So I found, yeah,
Yeah,
so that's an interesting point and something to be aware about.
yeah. I definitely think like overall it is a cool way to like kind of make it, you know, have a point. It's not just a cutout that's just going to be interfering in your videos. It
Hmm.
does do other stuff, but talking about videos, it's still gonna be there. Like I saw some like footage, and
Yeah.
you just see
Hmm.
like little like pill just like cutting into your video. They don't do what Android does, which is like it cuts off. So like I have a little hole punch in the top, and it just like shifts down, so it's all black.
No, it can do that. So there's so at least on my phone with the notch, there's like the regular a regular just version of watching a video, and you can expand it to fill the whole screen,
Mm-hmm.
which will cut off the like obviously the notch will cut off some stuff, and the top and bottom section
Mm.
of the phone will cut it off. Because I think actual videos, like actual like 16 by 9 videos on any phone, because the iPhone is not
Yeah.
like a 16 by 9 aspect ratio.
Mm-hmm.
So the actual 16 by 9 aspect ratio that most videos are in will have black borders on the sides.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Yeah,
only if you
same
want like
same.
complete full screen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Well, then I guess that makes sense. So you can just zoom in probably with the pill, the dynamic island. You can just like, okay, is Dynamic Island the notch itself? Is that what it's called, or is it just the software around the pill?
I know I think it's kind of both, but it's too long to say.
Yeah,
I'll just
the
call it pill
pill.
at this point.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's honestly a pill and a hole punch, because
yeah. It's like a little,
there's there, there's a hole punch for the camera and a pill for the Face ID sensors.
yeah. It's like an exclamation point.
Yeah, but I think but Apple like yeah, an exclamation point. But Apple just like covers it in software, so it just looks like a one pill.
Yeah, yeah, because it's OLED. You can turn off the pixels in between the camera and the,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then another thing that was interesting was the eSIM
yeah.
adoption. Not
Okay,
adoption, but just like
yeah.
conversion.
They just like took out physical
I'm
SIM
sh
slots.
I'm sure you have some some points here to be made.
Oh man. So recently we went to Spain and I bought a phone in Spain with dual SIM. Cuz that's like a big gripe for me is when I go abroad, I don't have, like I have to take out my SIM card and put a new one in for the local area. And so eSIM is kind of like it's already built into your phone. It's called embedded SIM, not electronic SIM.
Mm.
But I guess you're supposed to just like do it through software through the carriers. And so
Yeah.
now in new iPhones in the US only though, right? I don't think it's
Yeah, US
for
only.
so like Canada you'll still do it. You'll still get SIM.
Yeah, yeah,
You'll
probably.
now. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, yeah. So now you have to like I guess use a carrier. I don't really know how eSIM works. I haven't used it myself, but like from what I've seen of Google Fi, you like go into their app and you say like, "Hey, I want to set up a phone like plan with you guys," and they'll like through software configure the eSIM that's on your phone.
Hmm. And honestly, that's not that big of a problem, like all things considered. Like maybe it's like an extra like 5 minute hassle, but I think the biggest problem is international travel.
Yeah, internationally, trying to switch temporarily is kind of be kind of a hassle.
Yeah, so I know some like carriers in like these international places, like international meaning outside of America for us.
Outside the U.S.,
They
yeah,
yeah, outside the US. They like give you if you want if you don't want to like buy an expensive like international plan from your carrier, you'll just go to like just like a random store or the airport and they'll give you a physical SIM to swap out and it's a change of numbers and stuff, but it's super easy. And I don't know if those some of those carriers even support eSIM. I know not everyone does,
yeah,
which is going to be interesting.
yeah. We went to like small local shops, and they're not even like full fledged like phone carriers. They're kind of like minutes, like you pay for minutes,
Mhm.
and like what's gonna happen to those shops? That's kind of something interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
it's either the phone the iPhone is going to get a lot of hate and the small shops are going to get like completely destroyed. So
Yeah.
whichever comes first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it's not gonna happen now because outside the U.S., it's still with physical sim,
Yeah.
but this is kind of like the trajectory we're on. We're gonna get to a point where sim is just kind of gone overall. That's kind of what
Yeah,
I
and
think.
because Apple did it,
Yeah,
everyone's going to
everyone's
do it at this point. So
yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't really see the benefit. I mean, I like maybe like waterproofing and like getting to like a one less moving part and getting to a fully like portless phone
yeah,
if that's the future. But I think the the cons definitely outweigh the pros in this one.
yeah. It's yeah for the waterproofing. It's probably not gonna make. It's like marginal. I would say because like it's such a tiny like gap for the sim
Hmm.
in the first place. Like I don't know how
Yeah,
much of a waterproofing like advantage you would get.
yeah, I have no idea honestly, but
Yeah,
because because even do the watches the new watches do they have Sims like the cell
I think so.
um so they do have physical Sims.
Oh, I don't know about that. That's a good question. I don't know about that. Let me look that up.
Because I know the new watch, the Apple Watch Ultra, is rated to like be able to go even further underwater.
Hmm.
And if that has a physical sim, then this makes a little bit less sense because physical sims are easily able to go underwater. But
Yeah. No, it looks like it's just eSIM. It doesn't look like it
okay,
has.
eSIM. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know where you'd put the SIM card slot if it was a physical slot.
Yeah, I've never had one of those. I just had the data on or not data only,
The
the one that just connects to your phone,
yeah,
Bluetooth only, whatever they call
the
it.
Wi-Fi only. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
called Wi-Fi only. Just a side tangent. I don't know what the heck connecting your watch to Wi-Fi does for you.
Uh Yeah, I've never actually. I mean, I've never had the need to actually do that because I always have my phone next to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would assume maybe the point is I don't know if you want to like look like I don't know like Discord is internet messages, so maybe you could like receive Discord messages on your Apple Watch if you really wanted to.
Yeah. I used to think it was about range, like it would extend your range because it's not using Bluetooth. It'd be
Mm,
using Wi-Fi. But I tested that. I left my phone upstairs and I went downstairs and I still lost connection to my phone. And I was like, all right, well, I guess that's not really doesn't really do what I thought it did.
yeah, I've never tested it, but I don't know. I don't think I would have the need to.
Yeah. All right. What topic do you wanna go to now?
Um, you can
It,
do the
mhm,
I don't know the car one, I guess.
the car one.
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Or do you want to?
mhm, sorry.
Oh yeah, you go.
I'm just gonna do the climate change one. I highlighted it here. You see it?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, recently, the state of California has been pushing really hard on climate change bills. So they've put a bunch of different bills into action, trying to get us, the state of California, to be much more green. And this is manifested in a couple ways. So the most, I think the coolest one is that they're extending the power plant in Diablo Canyon. This is in St. Louis Obispo, which is next to that school, Cal Poly, and they're extending it for another 5 years, which is that's pretty cool actually. And also, notably, they're banning the sale of gasoline cars by 2035.
that's a big one.
That's actually pretty big. That's arguably even bigger than extending the power plant, in my opinion.
Yeah, so the 2035 one is or 2035 ban is interesting because um well I mean obviously it's still like a whiles away, but a lot of these promises tend to not actually go forward because of a bunch of complications, but I mean I'm hoping it does.
Yeah, I mean the thing to note about when they like legislate like an end to something, because like generally like we know ahead of time that like hey we should really be switching to electric, and right now is actually like a lot of consumers are, if they can, they switch to electric. So we're already undergoing the shift, but this legislative end or like action, you know, it gets everyone onto that new standard. So like
Yeah.
now we're on ICE cars, internal combustion engine,
Hmm.
and that emits gas and all this waste. But now, because we have an end date for when we need to be on electric, now we can start innovating on electric.
Yeah, that's also really important because this date also has to coincide with a lot of EVs
Yeah,
goals because the average cost of an EV is way higher than the average cost of like a gas car, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
there are a lot of complaints about the electric charging system in like I know Tesla has a good system,
Hmm.
but everyone besides Tesla, I know I've heard horror stories, so they need to definitely expand on that. So
Yeah,
until those things can actually get changed, I don't think they should be banning it.
yeah.
But I'm hopeful.
Well, even if they do ban ice car or like so like there's a ban for the sale of cars,
Hmm.
and there's a ban for like having it on the road. So this one is just selling it. Like we're saying like hey,
Yeah.
you can't sell any more of these. They all have to be electric from now on, or hybrids,
Hmm.
whatever. I don't think it bans hybrids. I think it's only like pure ice cars. So it's just kind of like nudging. It's not like you must get a Tesla or equivalent. It's kind of like, hey, we need to stop making and selling full ice cars. But
Yeah.
yeah, the interesting thing about this for me is when it does that, it's gonna definitely bring down the price of cars, and as you said, it's gonna improve the charging network. Now, I went on a trip to LA recently, and we were parked, and there's not that many, like there are like Tesla superchargers, but when you're like parked in like parking lots or parking garages, they're not all Tesla. There's some of them do, but some of them don't. And the non-Tesla one is like really low. Like
Hmm.
it took like all night, like 12 plus hours to fully charge.
Yeah, the charging network for like because a lot of these charging networks for non-Teslas are just in like random grocery stores or
Yeah.
like Walmart, Target parking lots or whatever, and a lot of them seem to be just really outdated
Yeah.
and just not work overall.
I think our
So,
charger at home for the Tesla, for my dad's Tesla, is 11 kilowatts or something, kilowatts per hour.
mhm.
And the one that we charged on, that like third party one, was like maybe like 4 or 5 kilowatts per hour. It was really slow. And of course
Yeah,
the superchargers are like 150, 250. It's not like
yeah,
you're not gonna get it for the whole time you're charging, but like, you're like at least doing like on average doing like 70 kilowatts.
Yeah, and the problem also I see about electric vehicles right now is like the a lot of people don't get them because of how long they take to charge. And the more people that actually buy them means the more electric vehicles are on the road, which means like longer lines for like current like charging stations.
Yeah.
So they definitely need to improve the system. Like I know you can obviously just like charge it at home, but a lot of people live in like apartments or places where they don't have access to a garage.
And you can't like leave your car plugged in. Like
Oh yeah.
that's another thing. You have to like if you're charging, you have to come back. Like Tesla will fine you if you leave it plugged in, for example.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like once it's finished charging, they want to get you out there as quick as possible. So they slow down your charging, so you're not gonna like be able to top off. You know, once
Mm,
you have enough gas enough electricity to keep going on your trip, they're just gonna be like, hey, get out of here. So they slow down and then they ultimately cut it off. And then if you leave
mm.
it parked, it's gonna charge you. It's gonna fine you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they definitely need to improve the system.
yeah. Now I don't know about other electric cars because I only driven a Tesla, but um, I know that Tesla in particular they like tell you like they like update you on like superchargers and stuff like that.
Mm.
And so like all these things, I think what we're gonna see going forward is that all these things kind of become standard, industry standard.
Yeah, everything needs to be standard. Like
Yeah.
I know a bunch of like these new tech com like I know like Rivian or something
Hmm.
or these like new startups are like planning to have their own like just station for like Rivians for Teslas.
Mm.
But I think that's a really bad way to do it. I think everything needs to be standardized so every electric car can charge in every electric station.
Yeah.
So I know
Absolutely.
Tesla has been testing that in it was some European country. They've been testing other vehicles being able to access their charging. So I'm hoping it comes to the US. But I don't own a Tesla obviously, and I've never charged one. But I know the Tesla charging port, is it standardized? Like is it like different than everyone?
No, I think they're trying to get it standardized, but I don't think it's standardized right now. Like if you want to charge somewhere else, you have to like get this adapter.
Okay, so it's like yeah, so it's like Apple. Like everyone uses USB-C, but then
Yeah, they're
and then
still on.
Tesla uses Lightning.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
but I think it's the opposite where everyone's using Lightning and they're using USB C, and yes, you know theirs is like superior, and
Yeah,
everyone
yeah, I
needs to
guess you can make that
agree.
argument.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Now I
And
want to give.
another
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to give some love to the nuclear power plant. Um,
Hmm.
talking point. So, um, we're not nuclear physicists. We don't really know anything about this, but
Yeah, I don't know anything.
the thing that the thing about nuclear power is that it's cleaner than burning coal, burning gas, all this kind of
Hmm.
stuff. And like there are concerns. I know there are concerns. With regard to
Hmm.
waste like uranium. Like how do we dispose of it? We just like
Yep.
chuck it into the ground, and that kind of like contaminates the soil. But
Mm.
I think it's really cool that we're getting like I didn't even know we had a power plant in California. Did you?
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I kind of assumed, but I know that they have barely been building any new ones in like the past like decade.
Yeah.
Probably, I think it's only like a couple at this point.
Yeah. To be
But
honest, I'm not like familiar with like, like the only ones I can think of are like, Chernobyl or because of the accident. Like
yeah, exactly,
like I
exactly.
don't I don't think like
That's why everyone's scared of them.
yeah. Like there's definitely a fear about them,
Hmm.
and it's kind of cool that we have one in our backyard. Like that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know a big problem with nuclear power plants compared to like I don't know these windmills or the solar panels is just the cost because I know they cost like a fortune to actually build
Yeah.
and like maintain compared to just like leaving a solar panel on a field and like
Mhm.
cleaning it every now and then.
Yeah.
So there's
Now,
they I don't know how you'd fix that, but
yeah, I don't I think that's just going to be have that's just going to have to be something that the government like subsidizes
hmm
cuz like the amount of power it outputs is like really large compared to something like a solar panel or wind or hydro, those kind of things. So that's
hmm
just going to kind of have to be something that, I guess is subsidized. I don't think there's like profit in nuclear power plants.
hmm
Yeah.
yeah, and I know there's also, I don't know if I mean there's probably stories of this happening, but I know there's also the fear of like as like the the cybersecurity world and the software like world gets more advanced, like it's gonna be even a more like bigger security threat if
Yeah.
people can hack into these power plants
Yeah,
or just
what
like
yeah, what was
the
that
enemy.
the Iran, the American and Israel the virus that they sent to Iran, and they like, spun a centrifuge really fast and it blew up. Do you know what I'm talking
Well,
about?
I have not heard of that actually, but I mean I can believe it. So that's also dangerous.
Stuxnet. Stuxnet.
Okay.
I think we talked about it at some point before, but yeah. Uh yeah, that's like, but I mean, like, if they can do that to Iran and destroy their like thing and kill a bunch of people, like that's kind of crazy, you know?
Yeah, it definitely poses a big security threat, but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't really know where the power plant industry is going because of all of these
Mhm.
problems. Like I know there is a lot of benefits to it because they're relatively efficient compared to solar panels probably because I know solar panels
Yeah.
like fundamentally are not efficient at all.
Yeah. I mean, you're
But
only getting it for 12 hours, and then you can get blocked by clouds and a whole bunch of stuff.
yeah, and yeah, it's really location dependent. Like if you're like living in like Seattle or something where it rains all the time, like it's not gonna be
Yeah.
as much help.
Yeah. Something
And
that's kind of interesting that's kind of coming out, um, is this is not really nuclear power, but it's nuclear fission or fusion.
mm,
Sorry, I should say. So fission is like it exploding, which is like I think how nuclear power plants work. But nuclear fusion is like what's happening in the sun, where it combines two elements together and it releases a bunch of energy.
mhm,
And recently, this is like, very like recent. The lab, Lawrence Livermore Lab in Livermore, they obviously they
mm.
they claim to have achieved nuclear fission. Now this is in the doc. It just kind of came to my head when we were talking.
Oh, that's
But
pretty cool.
yeah, so like they claim that they I'm gonna try and pull it up. They they um they claim they like merged they like achieved nuclear fusion for like 3 milliseconds or something crazy, and they generated like 1,000 watts or something like that. Like I need to find
Wow.
that.
Is there, do you know if like the benefits that that has compared to other like clean energy sources?
I think I believe that fusion is a lot more green because it doesn't have
Mm.
a waste product. You're just taking like two hydrogen and you're making helium.
Okay,
Like you're
interesting.
not yeah.
Could it be dangerous?
I'm not sure. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously we don't want to turn like this is I don't know how realistic this concern could be, but like obviously we don't want to like do too much fusion or else we just like start like, you know, breaking everything. You know what I mean? Like with the amount of energy. Cuz like
Yeah.
the sun outputs so much energy. Like it
Mm-hmm.
sustains life. Like if we do too much nuclear fusion, but probably not because we're in such controlled environments, but like
Hmm.
I'm sure like I'm sure we could, you know, run into, a point where we're producing so much that we basically become a star. But that's probably like in a really far future. I don't even know how realistic
Yeah.
that is.
I don't know about in our lifetime, but I mean that'd
Yeah.
be cool to see.
I'm gonna
But
try and pull up something. This was really
but
recent.
I'm glad that
1.3
a lot of these
megajoules.
yeah, that's crazy. I'm glad that a lot of these places are just are prioritized on clean energy because that's something that we need.
I mean, yeah. We can't keep burning fossil fuels.
Yeah, well, literally we can't. It's it's
Oh, I
a
mean we can,
finite
but
amount. No, it's a finite amount. Literally cannot do it for it forever.
well, I
But
mean, yeah.
s- something interesting, not really related to like power creation, but it's kind of related to climate change. I don't know if you've heard about this, but you know Patagonia, right?
The what?
Patagonia.
No. Please tell me about that.
It's it's just a clothing company basically. It's like a lifestyle clothing bit or something.
Hmm.
The founder, I think just recently, like what was it like today or something? He he literally gave away the entire company to fight climate change, which I think is pretty important because apparently he could have sold it obviously and made like probably billions, but he's already a billionaire. So instead, what he decided to do was to give the I think he gave the company to like a trust for or and like a non-profit organization, and every single like future profit of Patagonia will be donated to like climate change organizations and to help climate change and to help fight it, which is pretty cool.
That's really cool, actually.
Yeah, it's a big thing to because I'm surprised you haven't heard of it, but it's a really big company, and I'm sure there's millions, hundreds of millions of sales every day. So
Yeah,
the
it
small things
says
like these,
yeah, it says they had annual revenue of $1 billion from 2017 to 2020.
yeah, yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
crazy. So like that's actually really good though, because like they have
Yeah,
yeah, they have plenty of like margin to like dedicate to climate change. I mean, the
yeah.
question is, do you think more companies are going to do this?
It's definitely a bold move because he was already in the position to like do it. Like he didn't need the money obviously,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I mean I don't think a lot of companies are actually gonna sell off their entire company for it, but I know a lot of companies are dedicating a lot of resources to being carbon neutral
Hmm.
by like a certain year, which is
Yeah.
also important.
Yeah. Now this kind of begs the, I don't want to say the pessimist in me, but maybe the skeptic in me. Did he do this as a PR move? Did he do this like what 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 like there's like this problem of greenwashing where like companies will pretend or like they'll make up other reasons for actions so that they gain like favor with the public, for example.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it could be possible, but I know there's also like other ways he could have gone about it and like still made money and also like been in favor of the public. Like he obviously could have sold the company and just like sold half of the money that he sold it for to climate change.
Hmm.
And obviously he would be like still like be seen as like this amazing person.
Yeah.
But instead of selling it to like a random organization that like will not like share the same ideals I see he has.
Hmm.
He it's now in the hands of like a trust and like a nonprofit organization and stuff.
Yeah.
So
And
he definitely could have made a lot more money.
yeah. Do you
Yeah.
know how much he sold it for?
He didn't sell it. He just transferred ownership, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so he didn't gain anything out of it.
Interesting.
Yeah. How much is Patagonia even worth?
That's a really good question. There's a website. I'll share screen. Let's see if this works. This website. Oh, it has the letter. I guess. I guess it's just interesting. If you go to here, I'll send you the link in Discord. But if you go to this website, you can see a little letter he wrote. The owner wrote.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah. Well, props to Patagonia for that.
Yeah. Speaking of helping global warming and helping climate change, the Ethereum merge,
Ah,
as
yeah,
of recording, is 26 minutes away. So that's pretty exciting.
yeah. So, okay, tell me about this, Mr. Crypto. Let's hear it. So, Ethereum merge. What's the big deal about it?
So I honestly haven't researched much about it, but I know it's the main benefit of the Ethereum 2.0 merge is to solve a lot of its current issues. So it'll solve its scalability issues, so it gets more scalable. So it's going to be going to proof of stake instead of proof of work, which is going
Hmm.
to like dramatically like improve like the like emissions because right now I know for like at least Bitcoin and probably Ethereum, the miners right now, there's they take a lot of energy, and a lot of the energy is not clean energy, which like emits like a big carbon footprint. So that's supposed to solve apparently 99.95% of the problems with its climate resources that it's taken.
Yeah.
So
So I've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you're not going to be able to mine Ethereum after this merge.
that I do not know. I mean, I would assume if you could, it would be a lot different.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not sure. But it's definitely a big leap for like the industry as a whole,
Yeah. That's
and
actually
a lot of people are excited about it.
yeah. That's actually really cool. I don't really follow crypto as much as you know, but I this definitely made headlines today. I did definitely hear about this. Everyone's talking about the merge.
Yeah, everyone in tech will probably like know what this is or
Yeah.
have at least started of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. They've been talking about this for years, and it's
Hmm.
finally happening in 24 minutes.
Yeah.
So unless something goes horribly wrong, I think we're in the green.
Oh man. Speaking of clean energy, hydrogen as a source of clean energy.
Mm,
So apparently, UC Irvine, sister school of to all the California universities, is partnering with Southern California Gas Company to unveil a new source of energy involving hydrogen. Hydrogen. So now the process to this seems like very sciencey and kind of complicated, but the idea is that they're gonna use hydrogen and mix it in with other energy, like other sources of energy to, I guess, try and like add to it, like other forms of clean energy. So like I guess
okay.
like if they're pulling in water, I guess they're gonna like create more water by putting hydrogen and pressurizing it and making H2O. I don't quite understand how this works.
That would be cool. I know there are some hydrogen powered cars right now on the road, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
really curious to see how this works.
Yeah. Do you know if hydrogen is like is it more beneficial than just electric? Like
Um,
what's the point of it if there's already electric?
my understanding is that the hydrogen, it's less wasteful. Like it's more environmentally friendly
Hmm.
because your waste product is water. Like once you like produce water as a waste, while electric you have to charge it, which may come from non you know
Hmm.
climate like friendly sources
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
charge, and then you deplete
That's a
it.
good point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see the use for them. Like maybe just like small like commuter cars because I don't know if hydrogen can actually like power like a really powerful vehicle because I've never heard of a hydrogen powered truck because I
Hmm.
don't 'cause all the hydrogen powered cars I know are like pretty weak in comparison to these
Yeah,
EVs and these gas cars.
yeah. They don't have any range. There's
Yeah.
there's definitely no range. I think it's funny that you mentioned trucks. Now, I don't know anything for sure, but I have heard that there are like companies that want to change shipping, like trucks used for shipping, not like pickup trucks, to
Hmm.
hydrogen because they're already going to be carrying such heavy loads. You might as well just stick like a hydrogen tank underneath for longer distance travels, and it'll cut down and it'll switch us from diesel, which is how most of these trucks are, operating.
I see. So hydrogen powered cars, they're not powered just by hydrogen. They're powered there's some kind of process that turns the hydrogen into electricity.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah,
it's the
okay.
fusion. I think they turn it into water, the hydrogen in with the air, and they make water. I think it's that process. That's now I haven't really looked into these, so I'm not entirely sure. But
So my question is, I know this is probably gonna sound so dumb, but why can't you power a car with water, right? And you split the H and the O and have a byproduct of oxygen.
yeah, no, yeah, that's a good question. Well, I think the answer is it takes energy to do that splitting process,
Yeah. Mhm.
and I think that's why. I think that's why, because like if you're trying to generate energy, but you have to use energy to generate energy, that's
I
that's
wonder
like
if there's if is there like a balance that can happen, like where like you would actually like net more energy from turning the hydrogen into electricity than actually like splitting it. Is that
I'm not sure
possible?
that is beyond my level on my knowledge on this topic.
Yeah, probably not if it hasn't been done already, but
Yeah,
that would definitely be cool.
yeah. Well, I think it's really interesting for sure. I'm
Mhm.
you know I'm all we're you and me both are all for cleaner energy and better and innovations in the space, and it's cool that
Mhm.
we have like a UC school, partnering and working leading this.
Yeah, yeah, good for them.
Yeah. Alrighty. Do you wanna continue to topics or
Sure. Which one?
these next two are kind of this are kind of they kind of in the same like sphere. So let's just go sequentially. So let's start with the Tim Cook buy your mom an iPhone.
Oh yes.
You wanna take lead on this or should I?
Yeah, so um recently I think Tim Cook was interviewed by I don't know who he was interviewed by, but basically the
Weird.
interviewer asked him, okay, yeah, he was interviewed by a Verge writer named LeQuant Hunt. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he was sharing his concerns about his mom not being able to see the videos that were sent because of Apple's really dumb compression and scaling, because they're being very adamant about not being able to switch to RCS, which is a superior texting way. So
Yeah.
they're still stuck in SMS.
Mhm. Yeah.
And there was a lot of hope and there was a lot of promotion by Google that they would eventually switch to RCS.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I think in the interview he made it pretty clear that they don't have plans for it and just he told the writer that his mom should get an iPhone instead.
Yeah. So
'Cause
just to give a little bit of context, so when Ollie says RCS, what he's talking about is rich communication services. I think rich communication services. I think.
I think so.
Yeah, and then SMS is I don't actually know what SMS stands for. Let me check on that. Short message service. So SMS is kind of the old standard for texting, and RCS is like the newer one. It's gonna come with like notification. Like if you got a text, it'll notify. It'll send like a packet and say, "Hey, we got this text." It lets you
It's also
send.
more secured, right?
Yeah, it's also more secure, and
Mhm.
it's just like a better in almost every way. Now
Yeah, I
Apple,
find it funny that they're not switching to it because I feel like Apple has such a big like priority on user privacy,
yeah,
and SMS is obviously not as secure as RCS.
yeah.
So
So it's crazy.
interesting.
I'm still like baffled. I would have thought they would have been the first ones, to be pioneering
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
Because that's their image. They're seen as like this like professional and you know leader, industry leader, but they're really falling
Hmm.
behind on this one. Yeah.
Yep.
What's silly, and I've ranted to you this about this so many times. And when the writer says he's not able to send videos to his mom, when I get a video on my phone, it is cropped like so. Here's like the phone. This is like the size of the phone. The video is
Hmm.
like this small. It's
Yep.
completely blurry. It's compressed to hell, and
Yep.
you can't you can't see anything. Images,
It's
videos.
funny because like in the group chat, so we're in a group chat and there's like androids in there, and sometimes when they would send a video, you can't even click on it because it's like that compressed.
Yeah,
Like you like it's so stupid.
yeah. So like
But
I've
they
been trying to
definitely
get
need
everyone
to
I talk to on Discord, quite
catch up.
unsuccessfully, I might add.
The only way now.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think this is gonna change in the near run, in near future.
Hmm.
I mean,
Unless there's like some like government like mandate
yeah,
mandate or something.
yeah, we're gonna need that because everyone in the U.S. at least text on like iMessage and like SMS. Like there's no like WhatsApp like abroad. Like all my family abroad is all on like WhatsApp and Viber and Telegram and all that. But it's just not catching on here.
Yeah, fortunately.
Yeah. Speaking of companies in the news, we got Samsung. They had a little ad campaign against Apple following the release of the new iPhone 14, and I'm gonna let the tweets speak for themselves because I think it's slightly funny but also kind of annoying, and I'll get to why I think that way in a bit. So the first one, 48 megapixels. You're almost there, Apple. We've had 108 megapixels for 2 years, 6 months, and 4 days. So obviously, kind of going after the new the new iPhone change. I think they got a 48 megapixel camera.
Yep, the pros.
Yeah, the Pro. And then there's one about the Flip, and then the Fold. Well, what do you
Yeah.
think about this? First of all.
Well, honest, I know when they first started doing it, it was like, okay, it's pretty funny, but I think after like every single new feature, they're just going to diss Apple for them having it, which I find kind of funny because I know a lot of people like still argue like even on when iPhone was at 12 megapixels, they still argued that iPhone like had like some really good photos and sometimes even better than like these phones that like had 100 plus megapixels.
Mm,
So I think in the phone world, it's more about like the software than the actual megapixel count.
yeah.
And there's a lot of because I there's probably I haven't seen them yet, but I know there's definitely jokes of Apple like adding that whole punch, and then Android users are saying that, oh, we've had this for whatever amount of years,
Yeah.
and then I can almost guarantee it that Android's gonna get the whatever they call it, dynamic island features where you
Yeah.
can touch it.
Yeah. We know that that Android's gonna copy Apple. So
Yeah,
yeah. Now,
definitely an interesting
yeah,
um thing.
I I have to agree with you. I do like, especially the point about this, like they're kind of beating it. Like they like when they first did it, it was a little funny and it was like, oh yeah, yeah, haha. But now it seems like that's the crux of their marketing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
it's kind of annoying as a consumer because we should be focused on the innovation of the product. Like the Fold is a really cool device. Like like Samsung's pouring money into like figuring out like how can a Fold work, and
Mm.
I feel like this money that they're using to make fun of Apple or try and like I guess split the user base even more and capitalize on that split. I feel like that could be going to highlighting you know how cool the Fold is, and making
Yeah.
making selling your product based on how good your product is. I think that's where Apple came in with their innovations, and that's how they dominated
Yeah.
it.
It's like once you start comparing yourself with other people, it's like it's not that cool anymore. You should really be highlighting on what you've actually achieved and
Yeah,
comparing it to people that haven't achieved it.
yeah, exactly. Now, and the 48, 12, 48, like these are just like this is like comparing like comparing sizes, and
Yep.
it's kind of it's not about how big it is. It's about how you use it.
No, stop. I mean, you're not wrong, but yeah.
uh, yeah.
Yeah, and I know I like I don't know if you remember this, but I've seen ads of like when iPhone just released the iPhone 10 when it introduced the notch. I don't know if any phone actually had a notch beforehand. Samsung, was it Samsung or Google? I'm gonna assume Samsung. They had an ad of this family, just like a normal family. I don't know what they were doing, maybe buying a phone, and like one of the pe people had his haircut. It was a notch. Like the haircut was literally a notch, and I think their point was that it's like super noticeable and like no one would actually want to use it.
Yeah.
But I think after that, a lot of people
Yeah.
actually adopted the notch.
Literally everyone adopted it. Man.
It's Samsung?
Yeah, Samsung adopted it.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah,
the
it's
Note
interesting.
9 was probably the last phone that they released that didn't have a notch. Like they just had the
Mm.
chin and the and that's why I stuck with it for so long. I went off of it, you know, kicking and screaming.
Mm.
Yeah.
Did I thought which Samsung phone actually had a notch? Because I know they had hole punches and pills, and I know Google Pixels had a notch for a couple of years, or maybe 2, 3 years.
Well, hold on. Are we defining the notch as the little cutout on the side of the phone, or is a hole punch a notch?
Oh, I was just thinking just the cutout. It's like the
Oh,
little rectangle at the top.
okay. Well, I don't know if the Samsung had a notch by that definition. I was just saying like in terms of like hole punch. Like I consider a hole punch a
Oh,
notch.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they've
Yeah.
had like a cutout like the Apple does. I think it's
Mm,
mostly been just the little hole punch because they had it in the
okay.
corner and now it's in the middle and then they keep just moving it around.
Yeah. I find it cool that the new a lot of the new phones. I know the new folds are just testing out the under the screen camera, which I find is super cool. I know that the photos are like really bad, but
Yeah.
I'm glad Samsung, like this is the thing I can respect about these Androids is they definitely try new things. Like Apple would never actually try doing this,
Yeah.
but Androids definitely try a lot of these new technologies, and that's what makes them good in the end, and that's why Apple would adopt them because it's already been tested.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of I have to agree with you there. I definitely think like if Apple ever does a fold, it'll be after Samsung kind of explored it, and then
Yeah, after like
Apple
the
can
technology is like perfected,
yeah, and Apple can come in and make it their own and make it like really nice and really good.
the Apple way.
Yeah, the Apple way.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to give them
But
props. They do it. They do it well when they do it.
they do it well. That's why they're so popular.
I know, right? Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. Uh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Alrighty. I'll see you guys later.